The tiny room was filled with eerie silence, broken only by the soft beeping of machines and the faint cries of a baby who could barely move. Doctors had given little hope. Her body was paralyzed, and recovery seemed impossible. Her parents sat by the bedside, hearts heavy with fear and despair, wondering if their little girl would ever take a single step. Then, something unexpected happened. A large German shepherd, calm and gentle, entered the room. The moment their eyes met, a strange connection sparked. Without any training, the dog approached the baby carefully, as if understanding her pain. What happened next left the entire family in tears. A simple act of love that no one could have predicted. This was no ordinary pet. It was a miracle in fur, offering hope where all seemed lost. Days turned into weeks and weeks into months, but the baby's condition showed no signs of improvement. Her tiny body lay still, unable to respond to even the simplest touch. She could not move her arms or legs, could not smile or cry with the strength she once had. The paralysis had wrapped itself around her fragile frame like an unbreakable chain, leaving her helpless and silent. Her parents lived in a constant state of anxiety. Every morning, they rushed to her bedside with hope in their hearts, only to leave with heavy hearts at night. The doctor spoke carefully, using words like uncertain and limited potential, never giving them a clear answer. They suggested physical therapy and medication, promising it might help, but the family felt those promises slipping away like water through their fingers. Nights were the hardest. The mother would sit beside her daughter's crib for hours, holding her tiny hand and whispering words of encouragement. The father would pace the room, fighting back tears, trying to stay strong for everyone. Their home, once filled with laughter and joy, was now quiet and filled with a weight of uncertainty. Relatives and friends offered prayers and support, but nothing seemed to ease the deep ache in their hearts. Despite the despair, one source of comfort remained constant: their German shepherd, Max. From the very beginning, Max had sensed something was wrong. The dog would lie quietly beside the crib, his large head resting gently near the baby's feet. He never left her side, even when visitors came and went, and even when the family tried to focus on treatments and doctor's visits. Max's calm presence became a silent guardian watching over the little girl. What amazed the parents was the way Max seemed to understand the baby's needs without being told. When she was restless or uncomfortable, Max would nuzzle her softly, his warm breath a soothing presence. When she was quiet and still, Max stayed patient, never making a sound that might disturb her peace. To the parents, this connection was mysterious yet deeply comforting. One evening, after a particularly difficult day filled with disappointing news from the specialists, the mother sat alone in the nursery, tears streaming down her face. Max came over and gently placed his head on her lap. At that moment, the mother realized how much strength and love this dog carried, not just for their daughter, but for the whole family. Max wasn't just a pet. He was a symbol of hope and loyalty. The family began to notice small changes in themselves because of Max. They smiled more, talked more, and found reasons to believe again. The dog's devotion inspired them to keep fighting, no matter how dark the days seemed. Though the baby's body remained still, Max's presence filled the room with warmth and life. Little did they know that Max's role was about to become even more important. What started as simple companionship would soon become a catalyst for miracles, turning despair into determination and pain into progress. The family's journey was far from over, but for the first time in a long while, a faint glimmer of hope shone through the shadows. As days passed, Max's bond with the baby grew stronger. Unlike any ordinary pet, Max seemed to sense not just her physical state, but her emotional world. Even though she couldn't speak or move much, the family noticed how the dog's eyes would follow the baby's smallest expressions, as if understanding feelings beyond words. One afternoon, as the mother was sitting near the baby's crib, Max did something unexpected. Slowly, carefully, he stepped closer to the baby and gently rested his head on her tiny chest. The baby's breathing was steady, but the dog's warmth seemed to fill a void no medicine could reach. At that moment, the parents felt an indescribable peace, as if Max was offering silent reassurance that the fight was not over. Max began to adjust his behavior in subtle ways. He would bring toys to the crib, nudging them softly as if trying to encourage the baby's interaction. When the baby's limbs twitched faintly, Max would respond with an excited wag of his tail, celebrating every small sign of life. His enthusiasm inspired the family to celebrate even the tiniest victories. The therapists who came to visit noticed Max too. They observed how the dog's presence seemed to relax the baby, making therapy sessions calmer and more focused. In fact, Max became an unofficial part of the treatment, always nearby, a gentle motivator without any commands or training. One day, the father caught Max doing something remarkable. As he entered the room, Max was sitting close to the baby, gently licking her tiny hand. The baby's eyes fluttered open for a moment, and she gave a faint smile. The father's breath caught in his throat. It was the first time in months he had seen such a reaction. Max's instincts were extraordinary. It was as if the dog knew exactly when the baby needed comfort and when she was ready for encouragement. The family's hope grew slowly but steadily, fed by Max's unwavering devotion. They began to believe that maybe, just maybe, there was a path forward. Word of Max's impact spread quietly among friends and relatives. Some called it a miracle, others called it love, but for the family, it was a lifeline. They cherished every moment Max spent with their daughter, grateful for a companion who refused to give up when all seemed lost. Little did they know, the most incredible part of this story was still to come, a moment when Max's love would spark a transformation so profound, it would change their lives forever. Weeks passed, and with Max by the baby's side, small but meaningful changes began to unfold. One chilly morning, as sunlight gently filtered through the nursery window, something extraordinary happened. Max was lying close to the baby, as usual, when suddenly the baby's tiny fingers twitched ever so slightly against his fur. The dog's ears perked up, and he gently nudged her hand with his nose. For the first time, the parents saw a flicker of movement that was more than a reflex. It was intentional. This subtle interaction sparked a new wave of hope. Encouraged by Max's patient presence, the baby began to respond more during therapy sessions. Her eyes followed movements, and she even managed to grasp a soft toy for a brief moment. The therapists were amazed, attributing this progress partly to the calming effect Max had on the baby. But Max did even more. He seemed to intuitively understand when the baby needed motivation or rest. When she grew tired, he would curl up beside her quietly. When she was ready to try again, he would gently paw at her or bring a favorite toy closer. This unique bond went beyond companionship. It was as if Max had become the baby's silent teacher and protector. The parents were overwhelmed with emotion. They cried tears of joy, relief, and gratitude. After months of despair, this unexpected bond had begun to heal not only their daughter's body, but their spirits as well. Max's unwavering love had sparked a transformation that no medicine alone could achieve. Doctors now spoke cautiously but with renewed optimism. The baby's recovery was slow but real, and the family embraced every milestone, each a testament to hope, patience, and the incredible power of love. The days that followed were filled with moments the family had only dared to dream about. The baby's movements became stronger and more frequent. She started to reach out for her parents, her fingers curling around theirs. Every smile, every glance, every small sign of awareness was celebrated as a victory. The once silent nursery was now alive with laughter and soft coos. Max remained ever faithful, his large frame a constant presence of comfort and encouragement. The bond between them was undeniable. The dog and the baby had become inseparable companions on a journey from despair to hope. Max's gentle nudges and warm cuddles became the baby's motivation to push through challenges no child should have to face. The parents often found themselves overwhelmed by emotions, tears streaming down their faces as they watched their daughter slowly reclaim her life. Friends and doctors marveled at the progress, calling it a miracle born not just from medicine, but from the purest form of love. In the end, Max had done more than anyone imagined. He had brought light where there was darkness, strength where there was weakness, and hope where there was none. The family's faith was restored, and their hearts were forever touched by the unconditional love of a dog who refused to give up. This story is a powerful reminder that sometimes the most extraordinary healers come with a pause and a loving heart.